guest on our show is Szalonek. Kurt is the founder of the nonprofit organization Drifting4Life, which utilizes his passion for car drifting as a means to normalize open conversation about suicidal ideations and suicide prevention among our youth and our country's military. If you or somebody that you know is struggling with suicidal ideations, we want you to know that you are not alone and that you matter. We will provide links in the description below so that you may find the help and support that you need. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and it is my pleasure to introduce our next guest, Szalonek.
Hey Carlos, how you doing, man? Good to be here.
Beautiful. We it's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much. Real quick, right off the bat, I just want to clarify one thing. You are a car guy, right? You're it's
just a little bit.
Just a little bit, right? I just want to make this
bit.
clear. All right, I just want to make sure we cover our bases. With dealing with a lot of cars, I understand that cars require gas, and I'm pretty sure you got to make a lot of trips to the gas station. Is this true or not?
Oh no, all my cars are electric. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we spend. Yeah, fuel is a definite issue. We run one of our Lieutenant Dan runs on E85 pump gas, and the drift car is on just high octane 92. So yeah, we spend a lot of money on gas. More importantly, tires.
Tires, no doubt. With that being covered with gas, and being at the gas stations a lot, I want to get this question off my chest real quick. What is Kurt's go-to gas station snack?
Polar pop. I love that. I love the Circle K Polar Pops.
Polar Pops. Okay. All right. For sure. Now, for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying, we get to the gas station. I also have a go-to snack. Mine's is Red Vines. It don't matter where I'm at, what state I'm in, Red Vines, right? But one thing that really, puts a stop to my whole progress, to being at the gas station, to being on a road trip, is whenever the gas station doesn't have any Red Vines. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's something that's it's thrown out of left field. It's a curveball. Like, I'm not sure what to do, and this is obviously like a very minimized curveball in life, but there are also bigger curveballs that come in life. Would you agree?
Like following what you're saying is, so like, go to the gas station, my son, right-hand man, if he goes in there and comes up with whatchamacallit, it's going to be a good day, right? I love whatchamacallits, little candy bars.
Yes, sir.
But if they don't have whatchamacallits and he comes out with, let's say, a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, I'm not too happy. No, it's all good. But along those lines, what you're trying to get at, as you go through a day, it makes you kind of happy, but then other things do happen. So, there's a lot of things that could go wrong towing a 48-foot trailer with two cars in it. And, a lot of things go wrong. Absolutely.
And in life, we have these curveballs that are huge, that derail us, not just from our day, but from our whole path of life. If you don't mind sharing with us, what's something that you would say was a huge curveball thrown at you in life, and how did you come about to handle that?
Man, I got to tell you, we don't have enough time. I'm 53 years old, and I've had a lot of trials and tribulations. Let's just call them that. And one thing that I believe is that it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to get through them, but if you believe you can push through, the other side does get better. With me saying that, as I have faith. I'm a Christian guy, but I believe that regardless of what your beliefs are, if you have purpose in life, whether that's family, cars, doesn't matter really what it is, the purpose itself is what hopefully drives you to get through. When you understand the sun's going to go up the next day, you're going to push through it, you kind of reset. I mean, we had a pretty, I don't want to say significant incident this weekend, but, we had a little issue with one of the cars, and my son, in front of a big crowd at a racetrack, kind of made a little bit of a mistake, and it's going to be a costly one, but you got to learn to look at things in a different light besides what's right in front of you. We are all very fortunate, even though in the darkest times, there is fortune to be found. The old saying, what's that old saying? If it doesn't break you, it's going to make you stronger, or whatever the sayings are. I mess those up all the time. But I just think when you push through stuff, the light on the other side of the tunnel, to be honest with you, I don't know if we can say bad words here, if we can edit them out, but the old saying, light at the end of the tunnel, sometimes is bullshit because you can't even see the light. And that's what makes it very difficult. But the belief in the light is what gets me through days.
No doubt. And do you think that's definitely one of the things that has helped you over time? Is just holding on to that hope.
I think it kind of parallels with my mission because, like I said, 53 years old, I've been through an awful lot. And you kind of look back and you see how you progressively get through it and you get stronger and how one, block builds on another block. And that's part of like my mission to let people know that sometimes the walls are huge, but you will get through them and support, there's things like my son that drives the car right now had a brain tumor at a year and a half old. I always tell people, walk a mile in my shoes, and we have to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, and we can have empathy for what they're going through, even though it might not be the exact same thing. If we have empathy, and maybe my story, because I'll tell you what, I can tell you a story about my son, with a brain tumor that I thought I had it really bad. My son had a brain tumor until I'm walking around the hospital feeling bad for myself and like, this really sucks, my poor kid. And then I ran into another dad that his son lost the left side of his brain. I mean, who has it worse, right? Potatoes. So I think in life, the older we get is that wisdom that you get. And hopefully we can instill that. And we got two categories we work. We work the youth, and then we also try to work the military. And they're two different completely ways of looking at things. Obviously, we can tell. So it just, with the experience, our mission is tell us your story. Because I believe more than a therapist, I believe more than kind of what you guys are doing. Giving them outreach, giving them things to do, giving them purpose. I don't care what that purpose may be. It might, be, getting in a race car and driving it. Giving them something to look forward to, I think is, and then talking to somebody that has been down a road, not the exact same road, because I don't think anybody's ever traveled the same road, but down similar roads where you can go like, well, shit, man, I thought I had it bad. Holy crap, that guy, wow. And I think that's what's helped me the most when I really took it back and realized that there's something right this minute, somebody's losing a loved one. Something bad is happening to somebody. So we're very fortunate, but sometimes when you're in the thick of things, you don't see that. I hope I I ramble a little bit, but that's just me.
No, you're good. Absolutely. That brings up another point, honestly, in this idea in my head that maybe like somebody who isn't into cars and maybe might not look into your organization just because it's a car thing. It goes back to this idea of like, in a way, we're all kind of cars, people. We're all in these like different model type cars. Some of us are trucks, some of us are Miatas, some of us are different things. But eventually, at some point, there will come a point where we will all break down and need some sort of repair. Need some sort of like, all right, we got to tweak this, we got to do this, we got to change a tire, we got to do some rotation, right? What are some things that help you in that way? Maybe it's like a physical activity, maybe it's watching a movie, maybe it's for your sake, for your viewpoint, it was that sense of gratitude where you kind of step back and go, wow, other people have it a lot harder
Right.
than I do. So it'd be in my best interest to just keep trucking along.
Well, sometimes, my best interest gets confused with a lot of different things, especially when it comes to, emotional and feeling and a lot of different things. But one thing, kind of analogy you're kind of making, the whole drifting. So we have the drift car, which is basically drifting. Everybody knows drifting. You go send it, you go 100 miles an hour, you rip an e-brake, throw it sideways, go through a turn. And that just came to the whole concept of the drifting. And it's not necessarily about the cars. The drifting itself to me is kind of like life. You know what I mean? You get, ripping down the track, you pull the e-brake and you start sliding around a turn, you make the turn, and you're like, oh, wow, that was cool. Like, ooh, that was fun. That was great. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, crap, here's another turn. I got to rip the brake and hopefully make it that turn. To me, that analogy in life is kind of what we live. It's like, there's whoever said the white picket fence and life's going to be easy is blowing smoke up somewhere, because it's not. It's what you make of it. And there's always going to be challenges, and it's how we take the challenges. With me personally, like with things that have helped me, it gets real difficult, like especially when I'm building these cars by myself and really push on the mission. That financially, it's very taxing. I have a wife that's been really good, but it's taken away from us and our family and time and money and all that stuff. But I can tell you, when I have people see these cars, remember all the cars are is like the candy to draw people in, to start talking, to normalize this conversation, to talk about it. And when I have somebody come up, and tell me thank you. And they don't even know why they're thinking that, you know, and it's like I look at them, they're like, thank you for trying to make a difference. Thank you for trying to get this conversation. That to me just fills my sails up just like an old pirate ship. I mean, it fills me up and it keeps me going forward, because my whole thing is if I can help, and I know it's a cliche, help one person, but if I can just make somebody take a pause, you know, while they're contemplating suicide, while they're just to take a pause and to get past it, because that's what I needed. And, you know, my story's on my YouTube channel, but, you know, I had the gun to my head and perceived I had everything. And thank God I had my aunt that gave me that one pause. So what makes me keep going is that, like you said, knowing that somebody has it way worse than me right now, without a question. And then just sometimes to see the happiness in people. To me, it fills me up. When people get in that car, you give them a ride along and they get out and their smile grinned ear to ear. And, you know, hopefully that one time the word will get out that they'll think of Drifting for Life or Burn to Zero and reach out to us. Man, maybe we could push them over to you, some of the activities you guys have. And that's what we're trying to do, I believe, with what we're doing here.
Absolutely. That was actually going to lead me to another point that I wanted to talk about. I know it's helped me in my experience. The whole idea of giving back to others who have been maybe in a similar situation, or who, you know, you find them struggling. You know, when they come across your path, you're doing something for them, but you are also getting this huge, whatever it might, dopamine rush, or this just emotion, this feeling of overwhelming, like I can make a change. I can make a much more bigger difference than I think I can, even with just one person. If you can tell us of a time that might have been the case in your organization, or maybe somebody who might work with you today.
You know, from my background, it's really hard to, I mean, it's a constant thing. I do believe, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. You know, I'm 53 years old, and I had a business partner that I was in business for 27 years, decided he wanted to go on a different path, okay, and just go to a different way. And let's just say did it in not the nicest way and kind of deceitful. And I don't mind people changing and bettering themselves. Hey, let's go do it. But there's a way to do certain things, okay? And at 50 years old, and I had a trauma scene cleanup company, so we used to clean up after suicides and homicides. So that's how I kind of got led into all this. It's a really long story. But anyways, and, you know, at 50 years old, you think your ship is sailing one way. Like, you know, I'm pretty much set up. You know, this is 27 years with somebody. You think you know what you're doing, and all of a sudden the ripcord's pulled on you, and you're like, oh, crap, what do I do? It's a pretty dark time for me. And what I've really found in the past, since I started Drifting for Life, what I've really found is, and I think God's put that in my life, this in my life, not only to help others, but also has helped me, because I really firmly believe that if you go out and help somebody else, when you go help other people, when you really go out there, you're taking the focus off of yourself. And for some reason, I think that when you take the focus off yourself and you start looking to help others, it's therapeutic in itself. I'm going to give a really sad, tragic example, but just think of Chris Kyle. We all saw the movie, you know, American Sniper, right? Mm-hmm. And he went through all that trauma through the war and all that stuff. And what ended up, unfortunately, what he did, how he found solace, is he was reaching back out to his brothers and sisters, trying to help them, because he was so screwed up in his head because of what he saw. Unfortunately for him, you know, we know what happened. But still, that moment of peace that I'm sure Chris felt at that time, that's why he does it. And that's kind of why I do it, to be honest with you, because literally life is super difficult. It just seems like with all the politics going on now, all the different, just so much stuff that our poor kids have to deal with, our military personnel that are fighting for our country, and our country's like acting about a fool. You know, how much does that hurt when they know they held their buddy's arm, or their buddies in their arms passing away for our country? So there's just so much here that I think we have to take the focus off of ourselves, or try to, and that's when you get into, that's my whole tell us your story thing, because I do firmly believe we all have a big story that could help somebody else. It can help somebody else. So I don't know if that answered your question, but I tried to.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you. Touching on the point of telling bringing your story, right? The whole idea of bringing your story to us, it could potentially save another life. What would you say to the idea of maybe somebody who might feel shame? Because like going back to the analogy of the idea that we're all some type of car, right? We all do this. We're all driving this thing. We're gonna live this life. We'll come across bumps in the road. There is a huge range of emotions or things we might go through in life, and others might go through those things, others might not. For those that might go through the have to go through the roads of man, like of, for lack of a better term, like suicidal ideations, some people might feel some sort of shame to bring that into light because they think that, maybe I'm defective, maybe I'm a defective, type of car. Maybe like I'm just not meant to do this. Maybe other people are meant to drive. Maybe I'm not meant to drive. What would you say to somebody like that?
Well, it's a really good analogy you're using about the cars because we are all different cars for sure. We all run on different fuels. We all have different cylinders. Heck, some of them run on electric. Some of us run on hydrogen. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff out there. And it's a really good analogy to the aspect of this. And the way I look at this is that on my YouTube story where I shared my story, this is literally, it took me a long time to even film it. And it literally took me, I didn't even do it, to be honest with you. It took like 7 months to even post it. Okay. And, I'm a 300-pound guy. I played football. I can rock with the best of them. I mean, I am not afraid of no man. Now, I know I'm going to lose some of them, but I'll take anybody on.
Yeah.
I'm not a, testosterone, but I'm a man, and yeah, you feel like you're weak or whatever. But back in the day when, I attempted suicide or I contemplated it, because there's stages of suicide. You think about it, you plan it, you keep contemplating it, and then you finally get to the point where you're going to end up doing it. And it's really hard. And I had to take consideration. I had to call my mom and dad. I'm 17 years old, and, I'm going to post this thing that's true. And all my friends in high school, nobody knew what I was thinking. I was the football player. I was the captain. I was this guy. Stud guy. Had the girls, and I would have been a statistic. Okay, I would have been like, guy like Kurt blew his head off. What happened? So there's a lot of repercussions that you feel that's going to happen. Okay, and then you got your parents and your family that as a father, it'd break my heart to hear my son say something like that. But it wasn't my mom or dad; it was just the way I was feeling. Mm-hmm. So I really firmly believe. So what happened to me is when I filmed it, it was rough. It was probably one of the roughest things I ever did. And I knew. You get into this fog. Is this like you're telling your story, and you go like, "Is this a bunch of bullshit, or is this really happened to me?" Like it was really. And I had a confirmation because my friend Anna that I brought up earlier, she's the one that I called her when I had the gun actually to my head, my dad's 9mm to my head. And I don't know why I called her. I can't remember why I called her. But I can't remember my own name sometimes. I have a bad memory. And when I'm doing the video, I said, I remember where the phone was. I remember picking the phone up, the old banana phones, they dialed on them, picking up the phone. And I remember, on the video I go and I called my friend Anna, 818, and I said the phone number. I haven't said this phone number in 30 years. And after I got off, we did the video, I called my friend Anna, and I said, Anna, it was your phone number? And she's like, oh my God, I can't remember. You remembered that. And it was confirmation. So once we got done with the video, I just couldn't post it. I just couldn't hit the send button. It was all done. So I had the guy that filmed it, Phil, does a lot of our social media stuff. I told Phil, I need you to help me, Phil. I just need you to hit send. I need you to, I could not physically upload it. I just couldn't do it. It was that difficult, okay? And the amazing thing that happened, once I posted it, people started, I had a lot of people reach out to me like, dude, that sucks, man. Like, wow, I had no idea. Wow, thanks for, wow. And I felt ashamed, but then at the same token, I was sitting there going like, well, if I can't sit there as a founder of this organization, share my story, how I got here, how can I ask you to do it, Carlos? How can I ask, Steve to do it? How can I ask anybody to do it? Because it's such a personal thing. But I can tell you that's why I think it's so important, because somebody hopefully will relate to me and how scared I was. And I think by knowing that we have a tribe of not scared people, but just it's it's in your soul, it's in your heart. You're bearing so much of and it's not weakness. And people say suicide, you're weak, and that's a bunch of bullshit. And it pisses me off like there's nothing. I always say this. Sometimes, suicide is a moment of weakness. In other words, you just couldn't see past it. But you are not weak. You're not a weak person. Matter of fact, I say this to everybody. It takes some real cojones to finish it. Okay, to finish it. And unfortunately, people say that as a sign of weakness, or they're reaching out or whatever. No, you know what? They're at a point of desperation. They're at a point of no hope, because obviously they're at that point because they think nobody cares or there's no other answer. And that's the sad part. And that's hopefully what I'm trying to put the light on. I know you're trying to be part of that whole solution. And obviously we're doing the better together right now. I mean, seriously, as organizations, that the whole mental health thing is a bunch of, call, was it Ep.4 or whatever it is? I forgot what it is, but the the mental health hotline, Ep.4, I believe. Look, I'm not going to pick up the phone and call you. I'm not going to call some stranger on their side of the phone. Are you kidding me? Why? Like, they don't know me. They don't know my situations. But if there's somehow that we can have that open discussion where they see you Carlos, and you're willing to share your story, and we get them to our side, or we get them to where they need to be, and they can click on Carlos and send you a DM, or send you I'm pretty cool saying DM to old, but send you a DM. But I'm saying, do you know what I mean? Where they can just reach out to you and just say, hey, dude, the shit sucks, man. It's rough, but trust me, there's a light. There is that light that you can't see anymore at the end of that tunnel. Did I answer? I'm sorry. Go ahead. You just go time out for it. If I get going, but I get on the roll, brother. I apologize.
No. This is great. I thought in my head, I'm like, yeah, this is a good question, and then I hear your answers, and like this is more than I ever could have thought to get from the question. So thank you very much. Really quick, I know we have Drifting for Life. What other organizations do you have that are associated with Drifting for Life?
Yeah, so basically it's Drifting for Life, and then so the Drifting for Life is a it's a BMW, it's a drift car. So just think of Tokyo Drift, ding 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 ding. So anyways, but it's the drifting scene, and the drifting scene is a very eclectic scene. There's old guys like me, young people, tattooed people, girls, boys, men, women, old, young, all this, very eclectic. And I just saw it as a way to reach, and it's allowed. It's like, if you see the drift car, then go look on it. It's pink and green. I just think it's loud. I mean, it looks loud. It is loud, and it's a 4-seater. So we go around, and that targets the youth, because the kids are into it. People. And when I say youth, that's a very broad spectrum. I mean, that could be from 5 years old to 30 years old, and beyond, right? But so that car is really focused, and we go to high schools and we'll talk to the youth about mental health. Now, I'm not a mental health professional. I just speak from the heart and what I've gone through, and I've gone through an awful lot. So, but we just talk about it. You guys are okay. We all have these thoughts, and the goal is for me on the Drifting for Life side is get these kids off of these computers and these phones and these games, and have them find more purpose. Whether that's building cars, whether that's art, whether that's who knows what, spirituality. Get that all involved. So that's kind of the Drifting for Life program, and then we're also bringing into right now. We're going to have mobile workshops that you can do basic woodworking and just mobile, so that we can set up in a Home Depot parking lot and put it out there and just build a clock. Going to do an auto workshop. We'll have a semi roll up where we can do you're not going to be building a race car, but you're going to be working on getting your hands dirty. Get your hands feel this, guys. Feel something. How are you going to make this and give them that purpose? I have so many people at the NHRA events and different events. These young people walking up to me that are high school. They're like, how do we do that? I mean, how can we ever afford a car like the drift car? His name is Rowdy 19. It's a drift car. And I said, no, you guys are missing the whole point. This is a race car, so I don't confuse you guys that I'm out in the street doing street takeovers. This is a race car. I get that. Yeah. But you guys can go build one. Get 4 or 5 of your buddies. This car is $500 in the junkyard. Put a motor in. For $3,000, you guys could be out there drifting, having a good time, and working together. And so that's part of that mission. There's not one more important than the other one, but the one that they're both dear to me. But then I have it's Burn to Zero. So Burn to Zero is the missionaries we're going to burn tires, make a lot of noise, a lot of smoke until we get to 0 suicides in the military. Now, we know the 22 a day and all that. And, I have this a sergeant major, a Marine that's kind of walking me through this, and burn to 0 suicides, tires to 0 suicides. Is that going to happen? Probably not, to be honest with you. I just talked to my son, who's a Navy CB. That's why I got the CB up here. Literally, this morning, he just got pinned. He just got made E5. And literally this morning, he just told me that another one of their guys in a different, battalion, they committed suicide last night. Okay, this is an active guy right now. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, with the military, burn to 0, we're not going to burn to 0 suicides. But like he was telling me that they go on missions. The sergeant was telling me they go on missions that they're not always going to be 100% successful. They know it going into the mission. They're going to go give it, but they still go anyways. Because their comrades are going, their buddies are going, they're going anyways, and that's the mission, okay? Well, that's our mission, is to burn tires, and I'm not military. I have a vet that runs our director of outreach, Steve, that runs that part of it, because I can't, be honest with you, it's like walk a mile in my shoes. I started this earlier. I can't walk a mile in these guys' shoes. I can't even walk a mile in my son's shoes that's been deployed over to Spain, not in war, but just deployed for 6 months away from home, Mm-hmm. And I can't relate to him. I can relate to being a teammate as a football player and all that stuff. But the thing is with these guys got to get together. These guys got to talk amongst themselves. These guys and this is what I firmly believe, share their stories, because the only people that are going to heal them are the brothers and sisters in arms, not some doctor at the VA that can give guidance. But that's what that mission is. So I'm really excited about the mission. We've done, it's getting great. We received really good. We were at an event in Las Vegas 3 weeks ago, or 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's called LS Fest. Out of probably 4,000 cars, a company called 1320 Video. If you guys have ever seen them, they're really great. Check them out. 1320 Video, been around for 25 years. They chose Lieutenant Dan, and that's the car's name. Lieutenant Dan as the #1 LS SWAT build out of all those cars. And to be honest with you, the car is really cool. If you go check it out, the big old blower with big zoomies out, shoots flames and all that fun stuff. Yeah. But the way they chose it is because of the mission and the purpose and the cause. And hopefully we'll start reaching a bunch of people.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That sounds amazing. So we got Drifting for Life, Burn to 0. Kurt, really quick, and before we wrap this up, what's a single bit of advice you could give to somebody right now who may be watching this, who clicked on the title, who saw, Drifting for Life, trying to normalize suicide prevention, suicide ideation? What would be your core advice? If you can put your arm around them right now, what would you tell them?
You'll get through it. It'll be all right. It will. If you can push through, perseverance. If you're struggling, you don't need to call 988 or all the other bullshit lines. If you want, give us a call. Go on Instagram, Drifting for Life. It's at Drifting for Life 22, Drifting4Life 22. I'm not the savior. I'm not, but I can guarantee you, just like you, Carlos, I can push them your way. We have other organizations we can push you towards for help. Or if you just want to talk, man, I'll hook you up. Hey, I'll hook you up with some combat, especially for military. I'll hook you up with some combat vets that's been through 7, 8, 9 tours that can help you through. So all I can say is just keep pushing. Do not give up. There's this, and I encourage you to go look at this. It's on the side of Lieutenant Dan. And this is how I've lived my life since I started having just living life, right? Have you ever seen that? There's that, I think it's a pelican or a stork or whatever it is, and he's in the water, and there's that frog that he's eating, and like the whole frog is down his throat, but he's hanging on to that pelican's throat. So his body is inside the mouth of the pelican, and what it says, the caption is never give up. Because guess what? Never give up. As long as you're holding on, as long as that frog is holding on to that damn throat, he can't get swallowed. And it's going to be, now it's a matter of will. So all I can say is just reach out. And I get not reaching out to just reach out to normal people. Reach out to us and we'll hook you up with the normal people. And hopefully that'll help. But just hang on. Just hang on.
Absolutely. Kurt, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you and getting this getting to know your organization and what you do for everybody. let us know where can we reach out to you? Where can we reach out to organization? Where can we reach out to you personally?
There's a couple of ways to get a hold of us. So we have the website is drifting the number 4. It's always number 4 life.org. So drifting4life.org. Or there's burn, BRN, the number 20.org. The Instagram, we're always on Instagram. So it's at drifting, the number 4 life 22. So at drifting4life 22. Our email, if you want to reach out, it's on the website, or it's info@drifting4life.org. So a couple of ways to get a hold of us.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure talking to you, Kurt. We appreciate you. Appreciate the work you do for the community, for people, for giving back. And we hope to be speaking with you again soon.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thanks.
That's going to be it for another episode of Better Together. We hope you enjoyed our conversation today. If you like what we're doing and you want to see more, subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below. We'd love to hear your feedback. We hope to see you again for the next episode. And until then, remember, we're always better together.